We've taken several voyages in our time machine tonight to the home of the future, driven by computers and powered by the sun, to the medical world of 2039, a land of artificial organs and genetic engineering. And we've visited a violent reality of computer crime and constant surveillance. Each of them, and countless others, could become our future. Which one?
That will be decided by how we face the problems we already see reflected in today's headlines. If we are to make our way to the future we want for our children and grandchildren, we must make difficult choices in the years to come and face what experts tell us are the greatest challenges we have ever known.
The environment, devastated by human growth. Tropical rainforests destroyed at the rate of 1 football field per second. Plant and animal species disappearing, perhaps as many as 100 a day. The topsoil from our farmland blowing away, an area twice the size of Maryland, becoming unusable each year.
Humanity as a species is doing something that no wise family would ever do in its own economics. That is, it is burning its capital. In the process of living on capital, we're destroying our sources of income, and in the end, of course, we're destroying ourselves.
Energy. Fossil fuels have already polluted our air and water. And with experts predicting we might run out of oil by 2039, still more problems may be down the road.
If we do nothing and just continue the way we are, using 95% of our energy from fossil fuels, it will create an economic collapse long before 50 years from now.
Population. The numbers are soaring. 250,000 more people on Earth every day. The world population will double by 2039. And right now, 850 million do not have enough to eat.
The question is not whether population growth is going to slow or not. It will. The only question is whether it's going to slow because we systematically move towards smaller families or because we delay and hunger, starvation lead to rising death rates.
Global tensions. Over everything hangs the fear of war. Regional conflicts are increasing, and experts predict by 2039, more than 16 countries will be armed with nuclear weapons.
Now, that makes a much more complicated world, and we run the risk of a nuclear accidental war or unthought-out war occurring in volatile parts of the world, even if there was a build-down between the Soviet and the American armaments.
Are there solutions to all of these problems? Most scientists, politicians, futurists agree. The answer is yes. Some of the solutions are easy to understand.
There's no such thing as garbage. We have to recycle all of that like the Japanese do. I mean, the Japanese, one of the reasons they're so successful is they recycle 50%.
We'll have to start planting trees on a scale that we probably haven't even imagined yet. We're going to have to get serious about soil conservation.
We know what we can do about energy. Going solar solves the pollution problems and the economic problems and the greenhouse problem. We know that. It's all there. Just a question of working out the pattern when to do what.
Some proposed solutions are bitterly controversial.
Stop sending gifts of food to a starving country. Just grit your teeth and tell them you're on your own and you've got to make your population match the carrying capacity of your land.
But if there is argument over exactly what to do, there is agreement on this. What we decide to do over these next 50 years will be critical to our survival. And somehow, we must find a way to cooperate.
It's almost as if the human family is being nudged along by Mother Nature to grow up. We are all in the same boat now, whether we like it or not. And it's no good playing these games about whose end of the boat is sinking.
The situation is running downhill at a truly frightening pace. On the other hand, our potential for solving the problem is absolutely enormous. So I don't know what's going to happen. I hope we're going to take the optimistic route, and therefore whoever's listening to this tape in 2039 will be able to say, by God, they made the right choices, and we've got to continue down the same route so that our children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren have a decent world to live in.
We started tonight back at the World's Fair in 1939. It was a burst of optimism on the eve of a catastrophe, World War II. One fairgoer wrote, Sure, there was a lot of hype, we knew that, but we loved it anyway, for its powerful assertion that there could be a future. We needed to believe that, against all evidence to the contrary.
And in the long run, the fair was right. On the other side of the disastrous war, the future turned out to be even more extraordinary than they dreamed. Today, futurists continue to peer into their crystal balls and, despite the dangers they say clearly lay ahead, predict a world full of marvels.
And if all their guesses and all their hopes about what we could be in 2039 seem naive in the face of our problems, there is this fact. Almost no one says such a world is impossible. We can make our way there if we choose our path wisely. I'm Forrest Sawyer.
And I'm Paula Zahn. Good night.
I'm Ted Koppel. Later on Nightline, an unprecedented meeting between protesters and China's Prime Minister. But all over China, the protests go on.
Saturday, the saga of North and South Book 2 continues, starring Kirstie Alley and Patrick Swayze. And Wednesday at 9, 8 Central, the stars take the hot seat. From Bing to Betty to Bert, Barbara brings you Boy, Bo, and Bob. Don't miss Brooke Burns and Bacall on the 50th Barbara Walters special.
This has been a presentation of ABC News, where more Americans get their news than from any other source.
This is ABC.